first thing on my list. May not be the most important thing, but it's the first thing that I have on my list. Jonathan Kuminga is set to come back, and the Warriors are rolling. How we feel about the Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga joining Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry and a team that's on a 5-game winning streak and that have won 9 of their last 10 games.
What, 12-2 since Jimmy Butler been on the roster? I think they've only lost twice. The defense has been a lot better. The fact that Jimmy Butler has actually been there, that's the secondary scorer that they didn't have, that they now have. That's really helping Steph Curry. Steph Curry is 30-7 since the All-Star break. Mars has put this on my mind, and I have paid more attention to it. Draymond Green is still a damn good defender today. Still a damn good defender. I'm figuring because he's older that, okay, sure, I'm smart enough, but maybe some of the athleticism has waned. No, but I just think that he's so good at picking spots and being smart as a defender. Yeah, he might complain a lot to the referees, but I feel like as the anchor of that defense, not just the rebounding, but how he shifts the defense as the quarterback, he makes them so much better. Plus, with Jimmy on the crew, he just makes them so much better. I'm not going to go overboard, and the Warriors are the favorites now in the West. Let's chill out. Let's relax. Okay, we're not going that far, but I didn't have them making the playoffs before the season started. But with Jimmy and now the way that this defense has been playing, they're going to make some noise in the playoffs. They are.
I really, really like what the Warriors are doing. I think that the Jimmy move was phenomenal, not just because it's such an injection of talent. Like, I think Jimmy is still a top 25 player in basketball when he wants to be. I think he got really, really underrated because he wasn't giving it his all in Miami this year, and he didn't have necessarily the highest end production, but I think you see immediately he's like one of the absolute best plug and play stars in basketball, and his ability to immediately fit in to this motion system, his ability to screen, his ability to cut, his ability to play make off the short roll, do whatever is needed of him to complement Steph and to enhance this offense without overimposing himself on ball. But then when you need him to go out there and attack a mismatch and get you a bucket, he can still do that. And then defensively, he and Dre have just been a wrecking crew and have made those small ball lineups defensively super effective. So I'm really excited about the Warriors. I think they're absolutely a team that can win a playoff series. To me, they would still be 4th in the West, clearly behind OKC, the Lakers, and the Nuggets. When it comes to them bringing back in Kuminga, I think that Kuminga is a talented basketball player. He was having the best season of his career before he got hurt, and he was playing some of the best basketball of his career before he got hurt. I think they absolutely will not be starting him because you saw early in the year the clunkiness that he had with that version of the starting lineup. And now the Warriors are really prioritizing shooting as much as they can around Jimmy and Dre so they can have those guys on the floor as much as possible, which is why they are always either going small when Jimmy and Dre are on the floor, or you have Quentin Post out there with those two guys. So you have a stretch 5 who can still space the floor. Kuminga does not fit with those two because of his shooting limitations, because of his off-ball limitations. And if you look at what the Warriors are doing at a really high level right now, it's about a few things. It's about maximizing the feel and the basketball IQ they have on the floor at all times. That's what still makes Dre and Jimmy so special in a lot of ways. Steph excels there. Podge is a really, really smart, instinctive basketball player. It's about maximizing, again, the shooting that they have. Kuminga doesn't fit in with that. It's about maximizing the defensive personnel they have on the floor. Kuminga's never really shown the consistent engagement and IQ there. So he brings a little bit of a spark off the bench, but I'm not playing him too much. Honestly, I'm probably like, give us 15 minutes, impose yourself athletically in those minutes, but I don't think it's necessarily a big difference maker just because he doesn't vibe super seamlessly with what the Warriors are doing at a high level right now.
Carson, why are we still here? And I mean, this isn't year 1 or year 2 with Kuminga. Like, we're almost half a decade with this guy. Why are we still here with him? What's going on?
I just don't think that he really has the sort of inherent feel in basketball IQ that if he had that, then he would have developed more as a playmaker. He would have become a more consistent defensive presence. The shot is a different thing, obviously. That just hasn't developed to where you want. But the man can get a bucket in transition. He's a problem. He's really hard to stay in front of. He's a top 10 athlete in basketball, but it's just the intellectual stuff and the development that hasn't come along. And some people might say that's a product of him not really being given an opportunity to figure things out in less of
Yep.
a high stakes environment that a lot of other young guys have. Because immediately it's like, we need you to try to play a role for a team that's trying to win a title. And that never really worked out for him. Maybe if he were in Golden State, it would be a different story. But here he just hasn't developed as you would have wanted to see.
I hate to step in and interrupt this intense yap session that you're currently watching, but I just have to inform you on all the amazing, spectacular, fabulous, endless ways to play and win over at PrizePicks. Basketball fans, I know the season is just tipping off. Yes, I know this. But you know what that means? It means that you have an opportunity to pick your favorite players and their matchups that are the most thrilling, and you can win money from these. With PrizePicks, you can play daily NBA contests and test your hoop knowledge by choosing the player projections and every single stat line imaginable to make your prize picks and take home some nice hard-earned cash. Are you a rookie in the game? Don't even sweat it. I got the playbook for you right here. All you have to do is download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and you will get $50 instantly when you play 5 here with PrizePicks. So what are you waiting for? Download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and join me as we break down all of our amazing daily picks right here on the panel. PrizePicks, run your game, control your game, win your game. It's easy, baby. It's easy. Logan, Penn?
I tend to kind of be aligned with Carson on this, and that's the beauty of adding in a guy like Jimmy Butler. I think Steph, Dre, and Jimmy are the smartest trio in basketball. I mean, Steph and Dre, you could already argue, were the smartest duo in basketball. I'll give LeBron and Luka a good shout there, too. They're both brilliant. But I think all things considered on both sides of the ball, I think it's the smartest trio in basketball. And they all enhance guys around them, and that's why I'm really high on the Warriors. And you see it in the role switches that we're getting. Why is Podziemski playing better? He's not getting overtasked. Why is Buddy Hield better? He's not getting overtasked. Why is Moses Moody playing better? He's not getting overtasked. And these guys fit really seamlessly in there. I don't really feel that way about Kuminga. And I think that around 15 to 20 a night is the right call, but I also think it's going to be matchup dependent, and I think it's going to be kind of a feel thing. Is he playing smart basketball? Is he engaged defensively? Is he doing little things? I would do it more on a game-to-game and case-by-case basis, but I think the Warriors are legit. They're, off the top of my head, I think they're a top 4 team in the West. I think they are very, very legit, and I damn sure wouldn't want to run into them boys in round 1 with the way Steph Curry's been playing recently. So I think the Warriors are really dangerous. I don't really think Jonathan Kuminga factors in a whole lot for me when we're looking at this playoff run, though.
He just seems to, on the surface, when I look at him, from the athleticism, his ability to finish around the rim, and how Golden State plays as fast as they play, he can knock down open shots, particularly in transition. I would think that he would be perfect for what they're doing, but something's just not clicking with him. And to Carson, to your point, maybe I just have to accept the fact that he just doesn't get it. Maybe he just doesn't get it, and this might not be the fit for him. Maybe he should be in more of a free, like I think he'd be great in Indianapolis with in Indiana with Coach Rick Carlisle, where they don't run a lot of action, where it's just a lot of read and react, and they play fast, and playing with a point guard like Tyrese Halliburton, I think that would be really effective for him. And I may have to accept the fact that he just doesn't get it.
Penn, what are your thoughts on Jonathan Kuminga?
Well, I don't think Jimmy Butler has played his best basketball for them yet. Like, I think he's still sort of adjusting in. Like, you're not seeing, like, I think the best of Jimmy, right? I think we'll see that as he goes, but too many cooks, right? Sometimes you can get into that situation where Jonathan Kuminga still has a contract dangling, right? He has not been extended, if I'm not mistaken, right? They have not made that commitment to him. And Jonathan Kuminga is not an idiot. He knows what gets paid. Numbers get paid, right? But what the Warriors need from him right now is to be a role player, like to be an incredible role player. Come off the bench, know your role, shut your mouth. You know what I mean? Like, just you just gotta defend hard, you gotta run hard, you gotta cut hard, and you gotta satisfy that role, and you gotta pray to God that it's gonna get you paid $32 million, whatever you're expecting, right? Try to go outside of your role, and suddenly you start disrupting things, and now you really stand out, and now the pressure mounts because we're rolling without you. You come back, suddenly we go on a 3-game losing streak. Kuminga is so different than Moses Moody or Podziemski because he is more talented in theory than those guys. Like, so the upside and the downside is so great, because sometimes people look at talent only one way. They see it as like, this is a positive thing. Sometimes talent burns you the other way too, because you can do so much, right? You can help your team in so many ways. And now you got to harness that ability in a productive direction that does not disrupt what your team is already doing. So,
Ken, are you saying that I have too much of a good thing and you don't know how to harness that? Is that what I'm understanding?
Sometimes like that could be a real thing, you know,
Mm.
like Buddy Hield, there's like 3-4 ways that he could succeed on a basketball court, right? And there's certain players that can succeed on a basketball court 100 different ways. And then you sometimes just got to leave it to them to decide which way I'm going to help my team today. Right. Jonathan Kuminga is an incredible athlete. He can, in moments, look like the best player on the court. He can. He's had quarters like that where he could beat his man off the dribble. He's had quarters, if not weeks, of good 3-point shooting, right? So sometimes, like, there's a quote: if you get it one thing in the NBA, I think it's like a coach Darko Rajakovic quote. He said, if you get it one thing in the NBA, you could probably find your way on a bench. If you get it 2 things, you could probably be a starter. If you get it 3 things, you could probably be a star. If you get it 4 things, you're probably going to be out of the league.
Because we can't figure you out.
Just can't figure you out.
I think that's part of it, where he can try to do too much, but I do think Kuminga just has natural basketball limitations that make him less of an effective player to play right now alongside a Jimmy and a Steph and a Dre. And I think it's mostly just shooting and playmaking. Like, I think that's what the Warriors want to prioritize. I think they want to prioritize guys that are going to fit into that role right now. And like you said, man, I think Kuminga can sometimes do a little too much, and you don't want a guy out there doing too much. We don't need you to do too much anymore. You don't need to go above and beyond. We need you to play a role if you're the Warriors, and I think that's going to be really the thing to watch, is just how much is he overexerting himself? How much is he really impacting winning? But I think Kuminga can have a winning impact on a team, but it's going to take commitment. And
what would you like him to be? Like, if you could think of a player around the league, that's Jaylen Brown.
I think that is it's not 1-to-1, don't get me wrong, but you look at the athleticism, the transition stuff, the physicality, like the mismatch attacking. I think that's the mold that I look at when I see Kuminga. Now, let me be clear. I don't think Kuminga is going to get there. I wouldn't make that statement, but that would probably be my best comp.
I was thinking more a better version, but the IQ, but damn, because I was thinking more of a better version of Jason Richardson. That's what I was thinking when I seen him. I was thinking in that offense, like, he could be a better version of Jason Richardson with the athleticism.
I liked your Indiana shout, OG, because you're talking about, like, I think about the way they utilize guys like Ben Mathurin and Obi Toppin. Like, all those guys look maximized in situations like that. I mean, that'd be ideal for a guy like Kuminga.
Obi Toppin was on his way out the league. How does he look right now? He looks great.
He yammed on Brook Lopez nasty last
he looks
night.
Great. He absolutely looks great, no doubt.
Mars, I want to hear your take on this. I do want to say too, we all know Kuminga's a freak of nature, right? Like, he is an athletic specimen. And if he just not necessarily takes a back seat, but if he just exerts a little more patience, you're playing next to Steph, one of the best playmakers in the league. You're playing next to Draymond, one of the best playmakers and minds in the league. You're playing next to Jimmy, one of the best playmakers and minds in the league. You're playing with Steve Kerr, one of the best and smartest head coaches in the league.
Who doesn't help, Ron, by the way, who's not helping, because he has, throughout the course of his career, he yanking him in and out of the lineup. He's not really sure what he's doing with him. That kind of screws with him, too. Like, let's not make it look like this is all just Jonathan Kuminga doesn't get it, because there's a part of me that does believe he doesn't get it. But then I watch where he'll play 30 minutes, and I get 20 points in 30 minutes, and he's really effective. And then he'll play 12 minutes. And we're doing something completely different. I can appreciate the idea that it's a different team and it may be a different matchup, and you're going to your strengths. But like, that kind of stuff, especially particularly a young player, that can affect him. And I think that may have affected Jonathan Kuminga too.
If I'm his agent, I'm letting him watch Aaron Gordon tape all day.
Mm-hmm.
You have athleticism. You could play, connectively, defensively. We don't need to overexert you. I think the Jaylen Brown stuff, if it comes, great. Wow. What a phenomenal thing, right? But sometimes I think with really athletic players, especially ones who had a lot of hype at the prep stage, I think we fill in gaps that aren't there. you start seeing things that aren't really there with those players. I haven't really ever seen like anything more than a week or 2 weeks of star upside. We're 4 years into this.
But
Need
Penn,
to
it's
have seen a
obviously
little bit.
there though. But it's like you just said. So
Why?
because you've only seen a week or 2 weeks. Well, something is there. We have something here.
Yeah, hops. You have hops and you have burst and you have twitchiness and all of that combined is very impressive.
Right.
In spurts. And competition is, sometimes you face the Wizards and you look very different, I'm just saying, like, once teams, like, the higher up you are in the pecking order of your team, the more you get schemed, the more you have to go to things that you don't want to go to, and the more your basketball IQ and your counters are tested, right?
Right.
I would love to see Jonathan Kuminga, maybe we redo this whole career and he goes to a situation where, maybe he's tasked to be the first guy and we could see it, right? But we didn't see that. But don't completely undersell what a blessed situation he's been in, right? Because it does go both ways, right? You're playing with Draymond Green and Steph Curry under Steve Kerr. I think a lot of people when they just like when I write that out on paper, you cannot think of a better position to end up in as a prospect. And yet when the prospect doesn't do well, we start blaming that situation and saying there was too much pressure. That's a lot of tutelage. That's a lot of guidance. And my view on it is if Franz Wagner or Scotty Barnes end up in that situation, they're better off for it, not worse. No?
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say I feel like we're being a little down on Kuminga. His last 14 games before going down on January 4th. Well, chill. His last 14 games before going down on January 4th with an ankle injury, he averaged 20 plus. He's had a good season this year. He's averaging 16 on the year.
It's a totally different role. That's my concern. Because that's when you're looking at a shorthanded team and it's like, okay, go out there and infuse offense for us where you can on ball. Now, obviously, those touches are taken up by Jimmy Butler, and he needs to scale down into a smaller role. And that's always where Kuminga has struggled. It's never been a question of the raw ability. It's been a question of his ability to harness that in a selfless and effective and efficient way, and to do so in spite of the fact that he has some limitations that, again, like, make him really clunky alongside a Dre and a Jimmy. So he was playing really, really well. There's no denying that, but I'm a Warriors fan, and I've watched 4 years of Jonathan Kuminga, and he is a frustrating basketball player, and he is not somebody who I would bank on being like a key part of a Warriors run this year.
All right,
did you trade him?
And you got something?
He never should have been a Warrior. He should have been traded as a draft pick, but yes, I've been on the Kuminga trade for the right guy for a long time. You don't have to force it, but I mean, there are a number of guys. Like, I always look all the way back to the Siakam rumors several years ago. Like, that just should have been a no-brainer. That's the exact sort of archetype who would have been great. It was just insane, the notion that you could have two timelines.
The transition player that he is on the Warriors.
That would have been crazy.
Mismatch attacking, defensive versatility, and you didn't just hold on to the number 7 pick after holding on to the Wiseman pick the year before. You took like the rawest possible athlete project sort of guy coming out of G League Ignite with Kuminga when you're trying to win a title, and you still won a title, which is incredible, but you didn't set yourself up favorably to replicate that the next few years when you're trying to develop this raw prospect while you're trying to contend. Like, that just doesn't work in the NBA.
And knowing your Toronto Raptors, Pen, they would have handed him over. They would have handed him right over. 100% they would have.
Siakam?
Yes, they would have handed him right, especially at that time, they would have handed him right over.
Yeah, they were willing to give him up for just about anything.
There you go.
Mars, how you feel about Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors right now?
No, I feel good about the Warriors, but I'm just going to end up echoing everyone else's sentiments about Kuminga. I don't need to spend 5 minutes saying the same things everyone else has said. So the Warriors, yeah, I think they're good. We'll see where they land up on the tier list we're about to do. But yeah, the Warriors, this is the first time in over a year I thought the Warriors were a legitimately really good team. So shout out to them for making a good move. Yeah,
Mars, you
that's
never
really
liked Kuminga from the beginning, Mars. From the minute I met you, never liked him.
Yo, this is so boring. We need somebody to compare Jonathan Kuminga to Michael Jordan so everyone can crash out. Like we just you can't just have everyone agreeing.
No, we not.
I can
I
take
mean,
this whole hat off.
No.
we
swear
don't
I
need to
can't.
we don't need to manufacture disagreements. I'm sure
Somebody-
disagreements
why
are coming.
not?
And because they are.
Because
100%.
last time you did that, you had me arguing that the Rockets would beat the Cavs in
Mars,
2018.
this
I
is
can say
America.
some-
We manufacture everything.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys gon' get it started. The player choice way. Yeah, the player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.